What is going on, everyone? My name is Jonathan, and I'm the host of the Aymin Audio Experience. We're here with a great guest today, and I'm really, really excited about the episode that we're going to have. Travis Huff, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome, brother. Thank you, and I'm so grateful to be on your show. It's your boy Travis, Too Tall and Huff, and actually, I was just watching your interview with the Everbowl.
Yep.
Man, that guy is amazing, Jeff. That was a crazy story. I was just watching the video, and so I want to give a quick shout out to you for just your interview style. I like the way you pulled out a lot of interesting things out of that interview, and but yeah, it's a pleasure to be on your show today, my man. It's a grind as always. We're starting the Cyber Monday week here. You know, I know the podcast is probably going to issue later, but we're starting the grind here. Another week, another day. My life and story really is about challenging yourself. There's been many challenges. I was even thinking about prepping this morning here for you, is that I've experienced many challenges in my life, and it's not only about what happens in those moments, because sometimes it feels like there's no way out. Mm-hmm. But it's more about like what happens after those moments, because you can only stay in a down period for so long, is my mindset. That's just who I am. I'm the optimist. I'm the person, but we're all going to have downtime, and, really at the end of the day, I'm a little guy from Fresno, actually not a little guy, but a little tall guy from Fresno.
I was going to say, aren't you, isn't it in your Instagram bio 6'8"?
Yes, sir. Yes,
well, that
sir.
is
6'8".
You're the man I want on my my rec league.
Absolutely, my man.
We need some height.
Let's ball out.
I'm not over 6 foot, so I'm jealous.
Well, hey, there's positives and benefits of being tall, but at the end of the day, there's my story was I at one point was overweight, majorly overweight. Like at least when I was 17, I was probably close to my freshman year in high school, I was almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was a smaller frame, so I wasn't 6'8" at that point, folks. Obviously, you still usually kind of grow, and I was young. So I was a little bit, there's a lot of reasons why maybe my parents got divorced. There's a lot of different things, but bottom line, folks, is food. Mm-hmm. Lack of exercise and food. And so around 17, when I started graduating, I was around 17. And you know what? I said, I got to take control of this challenge in my life. I was overweight. I wasn't feeling good. I knew that you can kind of just see the trajectory of yourself and say, well, if I keep going this path, by the time I'm 27, I was 17 at that time. By the time I'm 30, I'm going to be 400 fucking pounds. Mm-hmm. And it was like, dude, the girls aren't going to like that. Just being in public is, obviously there's a little bit of humiliation. When you're 6-something feet, you can kind of pull it off. That's the thing. Right. But so that's when I made a big change in my life, folks. And the change was, where was I eating? What was I eating? And my activity. And so it started there.
What's influence? And that's really funny. This is a completely different direction that I was going to ask you about you, but this is totally about you. I love it.
We're going to get into it. We're getting into it.
So was there someone specific, like as you started looking into health and what you ate, was there a couple people or maybe any books or anything that you read that kind of, once you started looking into this, it really started inspiring you to continue making the change?
Well, folks, this is before YouTube. Okay. So this is 20 years ago. This is 20 years ago, folks, when I made this change. So it wasn't like as it is now. There's like the, anabolic aliens. There's all these fun channels on there that do quick, fun hit cardio workouts and things like that. Back then, there wasn't really much out there. To be transparent, I had a good buddy, Jared. I'll give him a shout out. He's awesome. He was always into the gym. He was that guy that was always fit. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? This dude's always fit. I got to figure out what he's doing. Because at the end of the day, when you go into the gym, there's a little bit of like intimidation to like what to do, where to go, it's intimidating. You know what I mean? I mean, beyond just hopping on the treadmill and sitting there for an hour, going into the weight stuff was intimidating. You know what I mean? And also being a taller guy, just you have a bigger frame, and
you're sticking out already.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's meatheads in there still today. I was at the gym this morning, 5 a.m. and there's still people in there that are pushing weight more than I am. And I don't care. No worries, man. Push your weight, dude. No worries. I'm walking in and out of there. I'm getting in and out my time that I got to do because I have a life. Mm-hmm. I can't spend 3 hours at the gym anymore. I wish I could, but I can't. So the goal was back then was just figure out what this person is doing that is fit and kind of follow them. And lifestyle wise, my man Jonathan, was soda. First was soda. Taking the first step, soda. What was your biggest step? First, soda. Okay, you're consuming way too much soda. This dude doesn't consume soda. He's consuming water. Make that change. That was one of the first ones, straight up. Second one, fast food. I was eating way too much fast food. I had been making money, and we'll get into the story of, sales and making money and starting businesses and always kind of having a little bit of money due to my own hard work. I never was like always dependent on my parents for money. I kind of always had a job or hustle or sold some stuff out of the garage and got in trouble, whatever. I always kind of had my own money so I could buy fast food. But the thing is, I realized was the extras. So like
stuff you were layering on top of the normal.
Yeah, so just buy, if you're going to go to the fast food, just buy a burger. Mm-hmm. Don't buy the side of fries and the drink. Mm-hmm. And that's when that was the start. That was, it sounds crazy, folks, but there's probably people out there today that are ordering the size of fries and soda that can make that small 1,000-calorie cut. 1,000 calories you cut out.
Well, you're tacking on sometimes, like you said, 1,000 calories, but sometimes it's even small little differences, like 500 calories at a time. Yes. If you do that for every meal, that's an additional, 1,500, maybe 2,000 calories, depending on how many meals you're eating. If there's a late night snack in there. Yes. For me, that's so interesting. You say I was in the hospitality industry for the longest time and working in restaurants. And when you work in restaurants, the soda fountain is right there, the coffee machine. I mean, and you can access it for free. And so all day long, it's a quick hit of, soda, a little bit of Coke, a little bit of Sprite, and that's great. But the problem is it really wreaks havoc on your teeth. Yes. It wreaks havoc on, your overall system, because instead of eating food, you're just taking, these little bits of sugar and carbonation. And it makes a huge difference.
Drinking ice cream.
Yep.
It's crazy. And I mean, you're constantly being educated. Now, folks, this is 20 years later. Okay. I'll be transparent to you. I'm 6'8". I grew after I started going to the gym. So after I stared getting to the gym, maybe my testosterone hit, everything hit. I grew about 8 inches. I went from around 6 foot to 6'8". Wow, within a few years of actually taking these changes out of my life. I don't know if it was just from that, right? I was probably still going to keep growing because I graduated young from high school.
Are your parents tall?
My parents are somewhat tall, but not 6'8". Okay. My uncle is like 6'2". So that's like the tallest person on anyone's side of all my family. But part of it was probably the working out. Part of it was probably just getting your testosterone at that right time, making the changes at that time. And then just from that day, folks, I haven't stopped. Now I've taken time off. I've done breaks. I've gone through my periods of this and that. I would say today I'm probably at my peak because I'm in more control of that. But 20 years later, 6'8", close to the 258 to 263 right now.
Wow.
That's based on my day, and I'm not completely ripped like these people. I still got stretch marks, dudes. I got all sorts of shit from being 300 pounds. Mm-hmm. But I look completely different. It changed my life. So that's the start, Jonathan, of a great story, because that was in college. That was my very critical time in my life, because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in life. I had a variety of relationships and things, and I had been working in family businesses, folks. As probably most of the people you hear about that are entrepreneurs, they had always been an entrepreneur. Like, I had got in trouble one time because I basically went around with a box of stuff I thought that was stuff I could sell, but it was actually my parents' heirlooms. And I sold it to the neighbors and selling like pots and pans and that stuff's cool, but I had to go back to the neighbor and say, you know what? I can give you these 10 other pots and pans, but I got to get this owl back because it's like my great grandfather made this for my mom. And I didn't realize you're just a kid. You're like 10 years old or less.
Refunds, the worst part of retail, right?
Exactly. I learned early on customer service because I had to knock back on the door. And then I did paper routes. Me and my buddy had a lemonade stand. We just had all sorts of different things that I always found a way of having a little bit of money on my hand.
So was that modeled for you by someone in your family? I mean, you said
my dad's an entrepreneur. My dad was an accountant, but that's not typically your traditional entrepreneur. When he was an accountant, you're not thinking like, oh, he's a entrepreneur, but he is. He was modeling that for me in a way. Later on, as I got through my other adolescent years, I had a neighbor, a really good friend, Gavin, that neighbor, a buddy, and his dad was an entrepreneur. So he really helped model it. I actually started working in some of his businesses. He had a pottery business. Him and my mom actually ended up hooking up on an idea for a wish candle. It was the first at the time, before Amazon, before any of this stuff, but it basically played and sparkled the birthday song when you hit it. And it actually was selling at Baskin Robbins and everywhere. It just was the wrong time. You know what I mean? They didn't have e-commerce. If they had e-commerce, it would have been an easier business to like scale it
Totally.
efficiently instead of having to put inventory out and be in the stores and you're having all this inventory problems basically because you're having to constantly put inventory, as you know, in retail. It's the thing they talk about in Shark Tank all the time. It's like you can have the best idea, but you're going to end up, if you're in an inventory business, like literally in like inventory hell with account receivables from Walmart and Target, and you're just like waiting for money and stress because you don't get this money. You're in these stores, folks. You're being sold everywhere, but did they tell you? Did they tell you? They're not paying you for 20 freaking years. They're not paying you for at least 60 to 90 days.
At least 60.
At least 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. I've heard of up to a year, and you're waiting patiently for a year to get your money.
And I think the larger retailers, it's actually going to take a little bit longer. You know, and they can because they're going to order the volume from you and you're totally willing to do it. But then at the same time, you're really being stretched thin. I want to pivot a little bit. I want to talk about what you currently do. And then I know a lot of the stuff from, you know, your background is going to come out. Really excited about it. You have the Be Real show.
Yes, sir.
I love your enthusiasm. I love your interviewing style. You're very passionate, and that really communicates. It's not even just on camera, which, you know, you're an animated guy, but in your voice and your presentation, I just love that. So it's great checking out some of the shows. I would love if everyone who is listening now would go and check out Travis. He interviews some really interesting guests. Talk to me about real-time outsource. So
absolutely. So yeah, the journey was when I graduated college at Fresno State. I got the opportunity to work at Disney. Disney is a great company. I learned the television broadcast business. Disney owns ABC Television, which has 10 owned stations, one in Fresno. So I got a chance to work, folks, on selling advertising, on, you know, marketing campaigns on local clients, but also even McDonald's, even bigger clients.
Wow.
So after about 4 years of doing that, I realized a few things. First, we started putting content on abc.com.
And let me pause you really quick. So walk me through. So are you graduated from college? Did you do like an internship to get
I got blessed, folks. I put out 50 resumes. I got 2 calls back. I got 1 interview, and I hit out 4 interviews recurrently with that company in advertising. I also had stuff at Cintas and some of more sales, boring kind of things, but I was interested in advertising. I always thought that was very cool. You could create campaigns for local businesses, put them on, and it worked and make money, you know? And so, yeah, it was such a blessing, man. I mean, I give people a shout out like this now. You can just put little clicks on LinkedIn, like link, ding, and enter like 50 resume things. You might not get seen. My thing, folks, I sent a huge file folder. It said top secret on it. It said, if you share this with anyone, it's going to explode. It's not your typical resume. The boss herself hated it. The bigger boss himself thought it was creative. This is the craziest thing, folks. She could not, I put it in a legal folder, like a legal size folder. She couldn't file me away in her cabinet fast enough. The big boss came in, Bob, he came in and looked at it. He's like, picked it up. He's like, we got to interview this guy. So I would have never got the shot if she could put me away. If she could have put me away. So I always say, folks, try to do little things to stand out in this world of just clicks and easy things. That, you know, try to take that difference. If you're ever getting your first shot at, I'm blessed. I was the first hire that ever had hired out of college.
Wow.
In that position. It was because of the big boss. It was Bob. He took the shot on me. So I killed it, folks. I did really well in that job. I really did. I worked hard, though. It's a very tough business, you know. And then after about 4.5 years of that, I started seeing the trend of digital. When my clients started saying, I can't track how many people are on your Oprah commercial, but I can start tracking how many people are on Grey's Anatomy on your online commercials. Then I started saying, okay, digital is definitely the way to go. Then obviously Hulu started hitting. Netflix wasn't even really there yet. It was still Hulu. This is in 2009. I think maybe Netflix was just starting with the delivery of the DVDs in the mail. You know what I mean? It was not where it was. Yeah. It was just the beginning of things are just changing. I just started seeing it. And I thought, okay, the business is changing. So Jonathan, I'm sitting down at Starbucks with my buddy. And folks, I believe this, truly believe this in my heart of hearts, what I'm going to tell you right now. Sitting down at Starbucks with my buddy. And he says, people are going to need their Facebook pages managed. And I ran with the idea. So what I'm saying to you, Jonathan, The start of real-time outsource, and why I'm telling you guys this, folks, is the best ideas you ever had don't happen from you. The best ones are not your ideas. They're the ones your buddy at Starbucks sat down and said, someone's going to need their Facebook pages managed.
And how crazy did that sound at that point? Because
at that point, yeah. I mean, it sounded scary. Yeah, it sounded 2008, 2009. Yeah, it sounded scary. It was over a holiday coffee, which is around this time of 2008, and I started my business June of 2009. Okay. So it just planted the seed. It planted the seed with me in that holiday retreat. And what I started doing, Jonathan, is putting together a PowerPoint, because I'd still been working at the other job. You know what I mean? But putting together a PowerPoint of what this would look like, how I could manage this, how what we would actually do for customers, and then also obviously kind of thinking like, who would I want to talk to about this? Because you have to start thinking. Well, I started talking to a few agencies, and that's still one of our biggest customers is agencies. One of my first conversations right there, folks, is still one of my biggest customers. They have I want to say 50 or so campaigns, maybe a month, reoccurring. So,
and when you say, and really quick, so just for the audience, when you say managing Facebook pages, are you saying you're posting stuff in their feed, funny cat videos, or are you running I had to throw the cat videos in there, or are you doing Facebook marketing?
Yes.
Or is it a little bit of both?
Every client's a little bit different. Back then, what it was, Jonathan, was just coming up with content to post on their page for them, whether that was sales stuff. Now, folks, this is back in the Wild Wild West where you were getting a shit ton of organic reach.
Yeah.
You're getting a ton of organic reach.
And I'm excited to actually ask you about that a little bit.
Oh, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about how that's changed and also the things you can do, folks. But just remember, folks that are talking right now, that are listening right now, the best ideas happen from the things you listen to and you capitalize. Put a PowerPoint together, put a shitty logo together, and start talking to people. Too many people are waiting for funding, waiting for this, waiting for a website, waiting for a perfect logo. And so we just ran with the idea, Jonathan. We just ran with that idea. We had our first customer. It was the largest home developer in the world right now. Fortunately, they had a local branch. She took a chance on it because the company was progressive on Facebook, but she needed help. So that was my first check. Boom, I got a check. Created a bank account, and it's on from there. And that customer, even though we can't do full scale work with them, because in fact sometimes relationships change, they had to as corporate wide, they were forced to not use any contractors as far as for social media or any digital specifically, and forced the internal marketing people to do that at the individual locations. Okay. You know what I mean? So the relationships changed, but also we still help them in some ways. We help do some reporting and some tracking of what they're saying. So things evolve. Let's just put it that way. Mm-hmm. But the point is, folks, is that get that check first. Don't wait. Don't think that you need to have the perfect PowerPoint, the perfect logo, the perfect website, the perfect this. Our websites evolved. Our logos evolved. Everything's evolved. Everything evolves. And so just don't let that stop you from going out and taking, especially if you're in a service-based thing, Jonathan, especially for those that are going to do something where it's just you serving your time to help the client do something they want to do. Mm-hmm. And those are the best businesses, I think. I mean, because for me, it's a cash positive business. It's not you having to go buy a bunch of inventory or go spend, doing this training and all this stuff to not even get a customer. It's like, too many people are going through mastermind courses and all this crap. And it's like, dude, I believe if the mastermind course is right for you, then go for it. I'm not talking shit on anything related to masterminds, but I've been seeing so many masterminds on sale right now for 95% off on my feed. It's insane. So if they're putting this shit for 95% off, what are they making on this thing, man? What are they giving you? What's the real people paying? Because this is just a funnel. It's just a funnel. You click this, you buy this, and then next thing they're going to sell you this. They're going to sell you this. They're going to sell you this. And I'm not talking crap on those businesses. I love those. But those kind of businesses aren't going to get you. They're just going to take your money. They're not necessarily going to give you a success plan for you to make it happen. And especially I've heard of ones that are 10 grand. $10,000 someone's going to take out of your wallet before you even get a check. What if you can't get a check, Jonathan?
I hear you're passionate about this. Have you ever been a part of a mastermind?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like my podcast is a mastermind.
Totally.
I'm interviewing people. I'm getting nuggets. I'm learning from them, and I'm not mad at those people. I'm just saying that don't let that hold you back. The YouTube is your mastermind.
That's a really good point. YouTube's like
YouTube
college
is free,
nowadays.
and there's a shit ton of content. Whatever this person is selling you in a mastermind, let me just challenge you guys this. Whatever someone's selling you, look on YouTube. Click the same topic and see how there's probably hours of free content on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Start there, build a PowerPoint, and see if you can get a check first. If you can get a check, then go do the mastermind. If you can build a business and you have the money, then do a mastermind. But if you're spending 10 grand to go become a social media marketer, do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
totally.
So
that's a really good point.
Like it's just a hustle, man. And still today, Jonathan, if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have started a real-time outsource.
Okay. Why is that?
Because it's a hard business. It's not an easy business.
Knowing what you know now, what business would you start?
Something related to software.
Okay.
Something
like
related
a SaaS
to
business, like software as a system, like
yeah, yes,
okay.
Something related to software, and we'll pivot down the road here. Software is a part of our business now, because we have reporting tools and we now have some reputation tools that we're integrating for customers, but still today we still have real-time outsource, dude. I can't just shut down my doors. I have hundreds of campaigns. We're managing their content. A lot of the customers are happy. I have one customer, Jonathan, last week that got over 400 shares on one post.
Wow.
A local business. This is not nationwide.
Yeah.
We're talking 400 shares on a local business, like a local LA business or a local New York business or it's a Fresno business. And I could give you guys, if you want to check it out, go check out Kids Care Schools on Facebook, because we figured out the algorithm, and we'll get into that now. Because the algorithm has changed. So that's the biggest part of our business, Jonathan. It's so challenging is that the algorithm's always changing. I'm sure you know this too.
Yep.
Right when you get one thing figured out.
Before we get into the algorithm and some of that stuff, I wanted to ask you about the podcast, because you said that the podcast is your mastermind. What inspired you to start the podcast? You're already in advertising. Was there a bit of like marketing that you saw, like this would be an advantage if you start a podcast? Because podcast is basically radio, like on steroids, and
yes.
A privatized almost version of that. So talk to me a little bit about like what inspired you to start the podcast.
So I've always been interested in interviews. I always like interviews, interviewing people, watching interviews. I still today, Joe Rogan, one of the best interviewers out there right now. Let's just be real. One of the best. Go if you don't believe me, go look at his YouTube and look at the views and how much engagement he has versus any of your top people in the major media. He's a great interviewer. He gets these awesome people on there and figures it out. The point is, I figured out I love interviewing people. I've always wanted to interview people that I've been inspired by. I've admired in social media marketing. I've been inspired in business, and then I thought, okay, they're not going to come to Fresno. They don't want to do business with real-time outsource. They have no reason else to talk to me. Let's create some sort of platform. And kind of seeing like John Lee Dumas and some of these people that had these interview styles. So I knew there's people that wanted to get on them. And I was like, dude, let's just run with this. Let's just go and see what happens. And I started just honestly hitting up my friends. Like all my friends that I had, anybody that I could get on the show. Shout out to Jack Kozakowski, my boy, Michael Lucchese. He was like my first ones. I mean, these people are still doing the same thing. Jack's taken off in social. He's like a really big influencer. He's become a thought leader, and he's become someone people look to learn about trends and social selling and LinkedIn and then the list goes on now. I remember what first started was Jeffrey Hazlitt. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeffrey Hazlitt, but he was on the Celebrity Apprentice. And I was in college, and I was like, he was the CMO of Kodak. Now I knew Kodak was like a kind of a dying brand, right? But it was just like thinking of, wow, that would be so cool as I was a marketing student, like to be the CMO. of a huge brand. And he was the
Absolutely.
guy. And I was like, oh shit, this guy's awesome. I just kind of liked his style of how he kind of talked, and he just stuck out in my head. And so he was one of the ones. I don't even, no one even cares about him. Or as far as like, he's not Elon Musk. He's not.
And you interviewed him?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
I've had him twice on the show because he
wow,
wanted to come
okay.
back and even talk about his book again. But yeah, I along the way, I've had all these little moments where you go on Twitter or you watch a YouTube video, like with Kai-Fu Lee. I did about 6 months ago. He's wrote AI Superpowers. He was the ex-CEO Google China, billions of dollars or millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in a venture capital fund, where he's funding these guys in Silicon Valley, and was I think an early investor in Alibaba and some of these huge Chinese companies. So he's doing well. He's doing well. And I just was watching a YouTube video, with him and my boy Tom Bilyeu, and I was like, I gotta get this guy on my show. And I just tweeted at him, and then eventually he said, let's do it. And I changed the schedule, and I just said, let's do it on whenever you're available. Like I'll make my time available. We did it like on a Saturday, which is not normally when I record. But the point is, folks, on anything you do, you have to stay passionate about it. Still today, trying to find that new person to interview. I would love to get Taylor Swift on to hear what she's going through right now with creating content and then having someone buy it, and then you maybe have to re-record everything. It's just so crazy.
Controversy with Scooter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy. Cool. You know what I mean? Like,
so who do you think is the most popular, most well-known person that you've ever interviewed on your podcast?
Right now, I would say Tom Bilyeu is one of the most popping guys, man. I don't know if you're familiar with Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory.
I didn't see. Did you interviewed him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Okay, well, folks, we're gonna all go check out.
Yes.
This. The Be Real Show. We gotta
the episodes in the hundreds somewhere. I mean, I've interviewed so many different kind of people, but he was one of the ones that stuck out, as well as our interview stuck out, folks, because we had to re-record. We had to cut off 3 times throughout the interview, and Tom still stuck with me every single time. And I think it was on his end, but he was just such a blessed guy. Same thing. I saw him on his Quest Nutrition. He was doing Quest Theory, it was called, because he's one of the owners of Quest Nutrition, folks, with the Quest bars, and one of the 3 founders of that business. And I just was like, dude, I gotta freaking get this guy on the show, and his show has taken off. I mean, if you check out Impact Theory, and also if you check out like he has other YouTube channels that they own that are not Impact Theory branded. I don't know if you know that, but you'll see him out there. That there's a lot of other motivational channels that have like millions of views, and it's all his stuff. It's all his stuff, but it's under different names, and it looks completely different. It's like different clips of different stuff. And so he's doing something big, folks. Like he's putting out multiple communities of content around his content, and he's got the team to do it, So, I mean, he's one of my favorite ones. There's been so many different kind of interesting ones that
who do you want to interview?
Elon Musk, Donald Trump.
Yes.
I would love to interview Peyton Manning. I would love to interview, I'm looking at The Rock right now, Bill Belichick, Al Pacino.
Joe Montana's right behind you.
Joe Montana, Simon Cowell, J-Lo. I mean, there's so many fascinating people, and I know I won't get half of them on there, because it's not the right audience, etc. So in business now, I start thinking like who I want to get to on business, and I think tactically, folks, just if you were to give you a strategy to start your own podcast today, it's real easy. Create a topic, find guests. If it's your own friends, get your own friends on the show first. Hey, ex-buddy, 1, 2, 3. And then start outreaching. And the key thing to do, I'll tell you the hot topic time to catch these people is when they're putting out content like a book, like a movie. I might be able to get J-Lo on the show if he did a book. I might be able to get Bill Belichick on the show in 20 years or 10 years if he puts out a book about how he mastered NFL.
Yep.
He's not going to come on any other time. So, but when they do a book run, when they do a promo run, they got to almost take these podcast shots. They almost got to get on them now. They're hearing about them. They got to be on them. If they get the opportunity, they're taking the shot.
2 things. So first, I think what you're tapping into is you're starting to be empathetic and think in terms of what they're thinking about. So right now, Bill Belichick has no reason to be on yours or really anyone else's podcast, right? But then if he goes and releases a book, if he's in a different place, and so now all of a sudden, selfishly, he's thinking in his head, man, I got to get on some podcasts. I got to start talking about this. So
oh yeah,
you'll have built the brand, and as you continue to build the brand, then he'll have a great reason to come on, and he'll be excited about it, and he'll want to do it. The second thing I wanted to ask is, what happens if someone's listening to this and they're saying, great, Travis, like, I hear what you're saying. I like listening to podcasts myself, but there's so many podcasts out there.
Right.
Like the market's super saturated. It's like any other saturated market. Why don't I just find something else that's a little bit less saturated? What, is that, do you think that's a valid argument?
Absolutely.
Do you think
everything's saturated?
Okay.
Facebook's saturated.
Explain that.
Instagram, everything, building a community anywhere is saturated. Unless you figure out TikTok right now, I think that's the only unsaturated place as far as like getting tons of organic reach and just going viral or whatever that brings you. You know what I mean? Like, if your goal is to go viral, then I think TikTok's the only one where there's maybe like a ton of place to just get tons of reach and figure it all out. But if you go to anywhere, go to Instagram right now and start building an Instagram community, it's hard. It's not easy. Shoot, I talk to people that have a few million subscribers on their Instagram. They're getting 10 times less the engagement than they used to get. I used to get 50,000 or 100,000. Now I'm only getting 5,000 likes or comments or engagement. So they're having a challenge to just fight to get anything with it. And that's because, what do you think, right? Ads. You see ads everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. Instagram stories, same thing. Ad in the Instagram stories. Now you're going to see more Instagram stories ads.
Every third or every fifth, depending on.
As much money as they want to make. Throw a second one in there. Why not? Hey, you know what? That's the truth about this business. That's the truth about digital. That's the truth about building a community. So none of that shit matters, folks. Still, people are building communities. My customer, Kids Care, which is a local kids care customer, they take care of kids locally in your local area, got 400 shares and 50,000 people reached organically last week. How did they do that? In a community where everything's saturated. We figured it out. And that just means giving the community what they want. On social right now, folks, if you're going to give the community what they want, you got to give them funny first. Do a funny Friday, do a funny Saturday. Lighten your feet up a little bit. People are too corporate, too looking fancy every post. And if you don't believe me, go type on Google your industry right now. Find a meme and share it. And I guarantee you that will be your most shared or most engaged meme of the whole year. I guarantee
That's a really good point.
Oh,
people like entertaining. The entertainment value is huge. Yeah.
And what do you think Facebook loves?
They love the shares. They love the interaction.
They love you staying on their platform. They don't want you leaving their platform. So when they see that you have content that people share, what do you think they're going to do with your next posts?
Make sure people are seeing it. They're going to kind of keep encouraging it.
Right there, dude.
Yeah.
150,000 people reach. Me and my wife have a funny cats page. It's a funny cat page, folks. It started as a support page, meaning a page that we could put out content on for our team members, and we still use it for new team members to train them. Hey, go find funny cat memes, schedule them into the page, and like learn how to engage and learn how to do the beginnings of what it takes to manage a real page, right? Dude, this page has got 175,000 people on it. It has posts. My wife does posts last week to get over 100,000 people reached organically. And now we're starting to make a little bit of money. We're starting to monetize it with cat-related books and things like that people would want to send us, send their traffic to. So the point is,
that's cool.
You have to build it first, community first. If we were just trying to start by sending people to different Amazon pages, do you think it would be the same? So think of your business the same way. Funny works right now.
People are trying to, people sniff that out. People are smart. Like they know.
Yeah. Don't put a meme. Don't make your own meme with your own logo.
Yeah.
Don't. If it has someone else's watermark, use it. Trust me.
Why is that?
No one wants to be a billboard.
Okay.
Branding logos on photos on social doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Let's just put it this way. You're not going to get more shares. You're going to get less. You'd rather take your logo off. You might get more shares taking it off. I've done tests. I've just seen it like posted the same photo.
So what about that business owner that's listening right now that says, okay, but we're trying to have, we're trying to keep the content consistent. We're trying to be on brand, right?
Of course. Be on brand most of your posts.
Okay.
On 3 of your posts, do these 3 things. 1 day a week, be funny. We already hammered that one out. Second day, you can pick any days. Be emotional 1 day. Tell an emotional story. Talk about a customer. Showcase a story in your industry. The one that works every day without fail, my man. Motivation Monday. Gratitude Sunday. Find a gratitude quote. Find a home quote if you're a home business. If you're a family business, find a family quote. It's an emotional quote. It's not going to get shared quite as much as the funny one. The funny one's the lead of the pack. The funny one's going to work every time. Going to get the most shares. People like being funny. Second, emotional, or motivational, or kind of inspiration that comes from that. And lastly, a contest. So you can be on brand with 4 posts. If you're doing 7 posts a week, 4 posts a week, put your logos on them. Do everything. Make them look high scale. Take the highest quality photos. 3 other posts. Have fun with it. Be emotional or be kind of inspirational, and give a contest. Do a timeline giveaway contest. There's just so many different ideas on Google. Just type in Google timeline contest on Facebook and start playing with it. Give away stuff. If you are tricking the algorithm on those 3 posts, your other posts will get actually more love. If you don't believe me, go to Hertz or Dollar Rental Car right now on Facebook. I always bring this up because they're a big brand and they have hundreds of thousands of followers on there, and they get like 2 likes per photo. And every single one is on brand. Every single one looks awesome. They have a great graphic designer, by the way, folks. But if they shared a funny rental, like a clown car, like this is not your car as you get here, just funny shit. Do you know that page would be popping?
What are brands that do a good job of that? Because you said Hertz and Dollar.
There's a ton of good brands out there. I think that
like a Wendy's or like a
Wendy's, Taco Bell, McDonald's, they all do really good job on the high level. But most of the people that are listening, or most of the people, are going to be smaller businesses that aren't doing that kind of stuff. That need the day-to-day tactical strategies. They can figure it out. And shit, if Hertz doesn't want to figure it out, that's their bad. To be transparent with you, I just gave them the juice right there. If they did those 3 posts. If they gave away free rental cars, like $100 in free rental cars, or like $1,000 in free rental cars, if they gave a funny ass clown car memes, or just funny rental memes, you could just imagine there's like just so many different funny ones on there. If you just type in rental car meme, and then lastly, if you were just emotional with like reasons why you drive and like fun things to do in the car while you're driving on a trip, and just think about they would be killing it.
Absolutely.
But instead, they're talking about themselves, trying to send people off Facebook to a separate landing page and all these things, which just kill the reach. Every time you try to send a post away from Facebook, they're just going to go like this. They don't want you to leave. Same with Instagram. Why would they want you to leave? You are only going to be able to get people to send them off your site if you use Facebook ads. So when you use ads, you can guarantee, because you're paying for people to say, okay, that makes sense. But just to expect that my post in the landing page, the second they see that link, I don't care what they say, they go, sorry. So I'm just saying, the big thing is, at the end of the day, we've had to learn along the way. Jonathan, shoot, those 3 things might not work in a few weeks, but honestly, they've been working for a while. So it's not like it's hidden. But what you talked about in the beginning is why I think most people go to. We want to look on brand. We want to look on logo. We have a certain font that we need on every single photo. That shit doesn't work. So go ahead. Please go ahead. Now, if you need to look on brand and on logo and everything, make sure that you do that with your ads, because you can force millions of people to see that if you're spending big bucks. But with your organic, turn it into a community around your business. If you're thrifty,
really good point.
You're a rental car community. If you're Wendy's, you need to be sharing funny ass burgers that don't look like yours. I'm telling you, they will get more reach than they are today if they did that once a week. But then most of them will not do this. Most brands will not do this. Just so you know.
So to give kind of a definition for the audience, obviously we've kind of talking about all these different things. So Real-Time Outsource, you're a social media and influencer agency.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you do ads management?
So
what do you guys do? So
we just do everything in social.
Okay.
Everything in social primarily. That anything related to running a campaign, primarily organic content that goes out on the page.
Okay.
And then also, I would say a big part of our team's time is moderating. As you know, as you build communities and you have people commenting in and all this stuff, you have like comments coming in. So just trying to respond to all those. And then actually, as we're talking here, you know, we've actually moved into another business, folks. As I was sitting with a conversation with my customer, Jim, who owns, what do you think Jim owns? Kids Care. Jim owns Kids Care. And you know why Jim believes in me? Because he got 400 shares last week on one of his posts. And that's just one of many of his posts that have been getting 100 to 200 to 50 to 70 shares each post. So what Jim said is, Travis, you need to start a reputation and review business because I need more reviews for my business. What did we talk about in the beginning, Jonathan, right? We talked about the best ideas come not from your head,
from other people's.
What do you think I did? I said, oh shit. He gave me the gold. He gave me the stuff. He said, I'm going to be your customer.
I love it.
He wrote the check for me. I mean, he said,
he gave you the idea and the check. I love it. That's what you want.
What do you think I did, folks? I looked up reputation software.
You probably bought a mastermind though, right?
We did. We bought 15 masterminds and then we went to
each $10,000 each, right?
You know what? I put my mortgage on my house to get this business. You know what? We created, honestly, after Jim right there, 21 customers right now. We're just still in the beginning phases of rolling out this reputation software. But we're building case studies to like it being successful, and it works well because honestly, Jonathan, what we talked about in the beginning is it's a business that is kind of more automated and less about having to have people working on all this stuff. Bots can't handle all your social media.
True.
You have to have people. I've seen too many mistakes. And if you're working with customers that have big businesses, you can't say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
People will
really good point.
Take that screenshot and put it to the news, man. I've seen some crazy stuff. So bots can't operate this stuff. It has to be people. And also, so then if the more campaigns you have, the more people you have to have. And so that's our biggest, constant challenge is making sure we have team to handle the projects. You know, I mean, that where the reputation business is awesome, my man, is that the customers manage everything. They have the access. We train them on how to upload their Excel file, and then the software does it all.
So for reputation, you're talking more of auditing are you talking about auditing what's going out online?
So what this thing does,
what's on Yelp, what's on.
Yes. So what this thing does is actually it goes and and this is something I was educated to in the reputation business. The reviews you have on Yelp, Google, Facebook are not your reviews. You don't own those. If you have a Yelp page, you know, because they hide some of your positive reviews.
Oh yeah.
You don't own your reviews. Just remember this, folks. I've been educated to this after getting into the review business. You don't own those. Those platforms own those reviews. Just remember that. So what this software first does is this. Say you upload, Jonathan, your customer list. The software goes out and what's called a drip, meaning it chooses between 5 and 15 of those contacts per day because the platforms don't want you to collect a ton of reviews in one day. Mm-hmm. If you collect like 100 reviews in one day, they like look at that as negative. Yeah. And I've talked to the people at Google about this. They look at this as negative. They'd rather have you
hide a bunch of
them. Yes,
most
on
of
Yelp especially. Yes. So what the software does is it automatically goes out and sends out a message to this customer and says, thank you so much for doing business with us. Or in some case, like we work with a lot of medical, so, thank you so much for your visit with us. We really appreciate if you could, basically ask them for how likely are you to refer us to a friend or family, and get their what's called Net Promoter Score, their NPS score. How likely are these people to refer? I think the cool thing about this is it's such a simple thing for them to answer, but it kind of puts them in the head of referrals. Mm-hmm. It kind of automatically puts them in the head of like, oh, I need to maybe refer out business to this customer, which is nice. It's subconscious. It's subconscious. Mm-hmm. So then the next, say you gave us a 10, boom, click 10. The next thing it will take you into, we would really appreciate it if you give us a review and capture that. So it captures the review, obviously like 5-star. If it's 3-star or under, it stays into like a private message mode where it basically sends the customer a private message instead of it blasting out there on the social. And then the next step is what it does is it captures that review. Now these reviews are, Jonathan, are the ones you own. Okay. Mm-hmm. So these ones are owned. And then also what it does is then the next email will actually send out for them to actually share this on Google, Yelp, pick the platform. It reminds them. It kind of has a little process. It's not annoying. It's not going to be sending out stuff every day, but like 1 or 2 emails just to remind them if they didn't fill it out the first time, along the process. But the most important thing is, this is the last thing it does, Jonathan. It has a tag widget. It has a widget that we put into the customer's website. And so every new review that it's capturing, it then starts marketing it on their website.
That's huge.
Huge.
And
folks.
you use
And
that, do you use that on your site?
We do this on our site. Yes, you've seen this, right? Right.
Yep, rolling through.
And it's
really cool.
easy. It's just a simple software. And like I said, it's just so turnkey. And then as the reviews are coming in, it automatically updates it. Same thing for the customer. And then also asking them to share it on Google, So it first captures the review internally and then kind of gets you to kind of go, hey, share this on Google, share this on, which are the secondary, I guess, places I'm learning now, where those are, kind of marketing, if you want to call it reviews, but they're not your reviews, So very interesting, because, you never know what will change with the platforms. They might start saying, Facebook might start saying, no, we're not going to show your reviews or whatever, or charge people.
They can choose to use the data however they want
Yes.
to. And they can, I mean, that's theirs.
Yes.
Yeah. And so not putting yourself at the mercy of the different platforms, because they're the kind of the bridge between you and your clients.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, mitigating
that customer Jim, that first customer Jim we talked about, he came to me originally because he said, I am so tired. I have a 13,000 whatever fan base on Facebook and no one's seeing my posts. And he was doing everything like Hertz, folks. He was doing everything on brand, great graphic designers, but the algorithm wasn't giving him the love. And so we helped change his mindset by also saying, let's introduce 1 meme a week. And now what do you think we're doing, Jonathan, with him? How many memes a week do you think we're doing with this customer?
4.
All of his content.
Oh, really?
Outside of the stuff that his internal team does, which they have like an internal graphic designer and they're still doing their own marketing and their own little things. All the content he wants to see from T Huff, in the beginning, it was just, please just test this once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all the content.
So just think,
what do you think, after talking to him, what do you think his businesses are doing in the last few years? Packed.
Really?
Slam. He's at 100% capacity. He's in the same situation because he can only have so many locations. He's building new locations, but you can only service so many people. And every single one of his locations is at max capacity. And it's not only because of me. I mean, like I said, he's spending money on ads. He's doing all sorts of different things. It's not only because of T Huff, but those 400 shares a week help. I can tell you that right now. That one post that gets 400 shares and like 50,000 people reached organically, because when you see a funny post from a brand, you feel like more personal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You just feel like they're cool, like they're fun. They're like it's just normal. It just feels like it's more relatable when they're just trying to create everything that looks high visual. And this taco looks like this. Well, shit, my taco didn't look like that, Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Be real. Be real with what your food looks like. My taco came cracked. I had a crack in my taco. I couldn't even eat that shit last time I had a taco. But the one in the social media, man, that shit looks good.
Perfect. The lighting.
So like, dude,
yeah. Be real.
Just be real about that part of it. And don't have to do with every post. You don't have to do with every post. But I think that's a
question about that real quick. And so you hear about a number of different people. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm sure you're familiar with.
He's legit.
A number of different people. There's this kind of struggle that I've heard in the creative community, especially about this idea between quality content and quantity of content. Because if you're putting out, let's say, 20 or 30 posts a week, right? That's a lot of posts per day. Say again?
That's a lot of posts.
That's a ton of posts, right? You hear Gary Vee saying, I've heard him, maybe a couple days ago saying, oh, you got to go on TikTok. Obviously, he's going really hard on TikTok and LinkedIn right now. And so he's like, you need to post, someone was saying, oh, I post 1 time a day on TikTok. He's like, you need to post 4 times a day. Right. Inevitably, unless you're spending all your time, especially if you're a smaller business, unless you're spending every single little bit of your time, there's going to be a natural drop off in quality. You're not going to be able to produce the posts. Is what you're saying, though, the production of the posts is not really the unlock, because we're not creating a masterpiece here. We're just talking.
Yeah. The key is just actually giving the audience what they want. Instead of just talking about yourself and your fancy salad, show us a shitty salad and a funny meme.
So how do you figure out what they want? Because I assume in certain communities they do want the beauty.
Absolutely.
creative
Absolutely.
content quality.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. It's not for every brand, but the key is about unlocking the engagement, or if we talk about challenging of the algorithm, you got to do stuff that's off brand. It's the truth. And so for those that want to be on brand, I mean, the truth is you're going to have to just spend some money in ads. Bottom line, boost every post for $20. Boost every post for $5. Boost every post for $1. Boost every post for $1,000. Whatever your budget is. If you want high quality content that looks just amazing and sends people off your site, off Facebook, let's just say, you're going to have to put budget behind it. I mean, that's the truth as far as if you want it to actually get the results, And I think most brands, on social right now, they're struggling because everything looks so on brand. And I think as a local small business, Jonathan, it's very hard to create 4 TikToks a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very hard. It's hard for anybody. So
it's hard to make 4 posts a day.
It's hard to make 4 posts a day
on Instagram or Facebook.
Gary's got a whole team, so it's easy for him to say that, obviously, folks. But he's been in the game. I've been watching that dude forever, and he's been grinding. And the best thing about Gary Vee is that he gives all his best ideas to you for free. Mm-hmm. There's no mastermind. There's no shit behind it. Go follow Gary Vaynerchuk. And now he's got a huge team, so he can put out more content than he did, let's just say, even 5 or 10 years ago. He's got a bigger team to put out more of this stuff. It's not him putting TikToks together. Mm-hmm. He's being filmed, and they're taking that content and turning it into TikToks. Mm-hmm. And so I think that maybe is the next step, Jonathan, is if the business owner is obviously busy, having a team to do it, having a business like obviously ourselves or any of the other businesses that are out there that can provide those services to a customer are very, beneficial to help maybe relieve some of that time. And then outside of that, it's just empowering your own team to say, hey, take content of me. If you're the business owner, tell the story. We were just talking to a local business. They're super packed restaurant, but he doesn't feel like right now, while we might get a shot with them, is that he wants to tell a story more. Where does this meat come from? Where does the products come from? Why do I do this? Why I show up every day. This place is packed every day. We're not talking about the appetizer you're going to buy, because this is, they're like known for, like, this is a certain eggplant and there's certain bread pudding that everyone freaking buys. It's just people go there for this. He's figured it out, but we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about the story, why you're in this, why you want to do this. So part of it too, Jonathan, is just listening to your customer. It's not necessarily telling him what's going to work, but I hope to at some point get this guy to at least do one of the 3 things we talked about. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think we maybe be funny with him because he's a high-end restaurant. So I don't know if we can necessarily do crappy memes. So let's just be real. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work for him, but we could still maybe be a motivational, kind of have that day, and then we can give away stuff. We could possibly give away stuff so that we get that engagement with the brand, Mm-hmm. Give away a $50 or $100 gift card.
As we kind of get to the end of our episode,
absolutely, brother.
I'm sad. We're gonna have to do this again at some point because there's more we could cover. But if you're talking to a small business, for any of the small business owners out there, even people that aspire to own a small business who, possibly think, oh, my life's not that interesting, or some of these other things, but they're thinking of producing content. Maybe they have limited time, right? We all have, busy lives and everything else. Where would you say they spend their time? Like, on what social media platform? Because you could listen to Gary Vee and he's yelling about LinkedIn and TikTok, and you could spend your entire day creating 2 white pages for LinkedIn and 2 TikTok videos, and that's it.
Right.
And then you got your kids and you got whatever else you're doing. You're going to the gym, so if you are talking to a small business owner, they're looking to put some content out on social media. They don't know where to start. They know that they have all these options. Some people are saying Facebook's dead. Organic reach on Instagram's going down. TikTok's where you should be. LinkedIn's good. Is it not for my business? What should I be doing? Right? What advice would you give to them?
You know what, folks? I would say one of my negatives is that I'm not strong on any one platform. So I've always embraced all the platforms. Now, I'm not on TikTok quite yet. I did put a profile together, but I didn't figure it quite out because it was like, all these little kids engaging with you and stuff. It didn't make quite as much sense. If I was to give you one right now, I would go with Gary Vee on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the game changer for business. If we're talking about business, I think LinkedIn is the game changer. If you're talking about your local business, Facebook is still the game changer. Mm-hmm. You can target like 1 mile around your business. We did this for a local burger restaurant. They were in a very popular area, but they're and they're new, but they're in the midst of a bunch of other new restaurants in the same area. So what you can do is just target like 1 mile away or 2 miles away from your location. Make a bubble around your location. People aren't going to drive that far for food, folks. Just remember this. 2-3 miles at the most. Most time people are going to drive for food or convenience things. They're not, unless it's like you have to have it. You know, you're going to drive 20 minutes or, you know, real far. For the most part, people are going to drive pretty close and hit them over the head with your ads on boosted posts. So we started boosting this guy's posts, come up with offers. And this guy was like saying he was going out of business a couple of weeks ago. And he's like, dude, things are popping, man. We got things going here. And it was just that. It wasn't like we were focused on everybody around in the whole world in this area. It was just, okay, well, the 2 to 3 miles, you know, the people that are willing to drive and that are close, well, let's get them to see this stuff, you know, because they're probably going to pick up a burger here and there, you know, and if that guy can pick up one of those people a week or one a month, that's a win for his business. You know, it doesn't take a lot in the restaurant business for it to be a win. Especially for local restaurants right now, because I think they are struggling. I think that I still feel this, guys. I think we're still in a recession right now.
Interesting.
I'm still optimistic.
You had to drop that in there right at the end. Now we're definitely gonna have to talk again.
I'm interested. Hey, bro, I really appreciate you, man. Also for your audience too, if you're interested, for them, if I could give them a little value, we've done something where we'll actually track your mentions on social for 30 days. So if you're a small business, local business, or just a person, have a podcast, whatever, I was even saying for you, my man, we're going to want to put you in there. And it provides this intelligence software around the people that are talking about you on social. So if you go to realtimeoutsource.com/be real, and we'll do this for free. We're not trying to take any credit cards. This is not some scam to get. It's really to try to figure, obviously, the audience size or the value of giving back to podcasts specifically. And then also secondarily, we weren't using this stuff completely. So I was like, hey, let's maximize this. And I've actually was like, this is awesome just to give back to the guests of the shows that I've been on, to be honest with you. And a few of them were like, this is cool, really cool insights, you know, to see their top influencers, see who's sharing their messages the most. And then also what it gives you too, my man, Jonathan, is correlating topics. So the things that you're talking about, it will also show maybe correlating hashtags and things that other people are talking about, you know, for you. So yeah, man, I think for you, you're going to continue to keep killing it, man. I love your interview style. I think you're so blessed as far as your business. I can see you at the end of the day, the podcast game is still early, folks.
Yeah.
Don't really think this is too late. This is just the beginning of a big movement. People now have these little AirPods in their ear everywhere you go, the little, AirPods, and they're listening to podcasts. And so don't be afraid to start a show like my man and myself with the B Real Show and your awesome show, because for sure, first off, you can do it for your business, but just for you to interview cool people. It's just so fun to interview people and also get the opportunities, because a lot of times these people aren't going to ever talk to you.
Yep.
Me and you would never talk to each other. If we had not made this happen, you'd be like, who the hell is this guy? Real Time Outsource? No. And now, my man, I feel like there's a bond. You create a bond when you do these things. And so then you keep going. You just keep going. So thank you.
Right. For anyone who wants to go check out your content, you guys, I highly encourage you to check it out. Where can they find you on social? Where can they engage with you? Plug yourself.
Absolutely. Tutallin. So Tutallin, the number 2, TALLIN on Instagram, or if you type that in on any of the Google networks, you'll find me.
Where's that cat page? We got to know. You got to shut that cat
Funny
page
Cats.
up, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Funny Cats on social media is on Facebook. It's facebook.com/catsmakeuslaugh is the cat page. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you type me on Travis Huff, HUFF, on any of the platforms or on LinkedIn, please add me and check it out. I'm more along the lines of Gary V. I'm not trying to sell you into anything. I think that there's a big value of just giving back and to the people that are listening, to the people that are listening to our shows that are the listeners. It's something cool to give back to them, because this is a whole new format. And if the more passionate listeners you have, then it builds. And so I've seen it. You've probably seen it as well. Just as you keep putting shows out, as you keep getting cool guests out, it keeps building. Yeah. And we'll do our very best to make sure this show goes viral too. And everything we can do, we might even have to put this on the Funny Cat page. You never know.
We don't have cats. We need to get a cat. We need to get a cat and be like right at the end, little pop. But anyways, Travis, thank you. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on. Gave a lot of value. Brought the fire, like you said, the fuego. I love it. Have a killer day, and we'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day, guys.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for tuning in.